All right, Arga, welcome to our online book discussion, episode
Hello,
6.
thanks for having me.
Yep. We have talked before, and I believe this is the book that we're going to discuss, yeah?
Oh yeah,
The
and
kind of
it's
Monte
actually
Cristo.
the same publisher.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Actually, I haven't read it myself.
Okay.
I tried to read it, but like I couldn't. It's quite a long, thick book, so
Mm.
I couldn't really finish it. Maybe I will try once more later. I did finish the movie. Then surely the book version must be like much better,
Yes.
right?
Right. Surely.
Okay.
Surely.
To start, can you introduce yourself?
Okay. Hello. Those who haven't known me yet, I'm Arga from 12D, Ksatria Bangsa High School.
Mm-hmm.
I live here now in Sumbawa, though my
All
parents
right.
are actually from Java.
I see.
I like reading. Have liked it since a kid. Um, well, yeah, because probably because I've got pretty early start in English education, then I have a lot more range of literature that is available for me.
I see.
Um, I like reading classics.
Wow.
For example, like this, the kind of the Cristo,
I see. That's why. Mm-hmm.
But I also do like reading new stuff, modern. But I rarely go to bookstores now.
I see. I see. And since you are 12th grade right now, you don't really have time for the books right now, right?
Well, not really.
Not really. Yeah. You're more focused with the exams and all, right? You're the first participant from 12th grade.
Yeah.
Yep. Oh yeah. And you also mentioned that you like classic. Have you read this one?
No. Let's
No.
not.
Yeah. That's even I think thicker than the Count of
Yeah.
Monte Cristo, and there
Yeah.
are several like volume of it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Moving to the books. So what do you have to say about it?
Oh.
Yeah. How do we start? I'm not really sure now.
I don't know. Probably. I'll just throw in a synopsis for those who you don't know. Count of Monte Cristo is was a story. Is a book created by Alexander Dumas in 1848. So that was way back.
Yep.
During the period where there's kings, where there's emperors. So, if one could say it, the story is literally a basic revenge story.
Oh yeah.
But
Great.
since we can classify it as only a revenge story, thus the genre is very open to other subplots and all that jazz. For example, in the story, while it is naturally a fiction, not a really true story, the writer himself is a very well traveled person. So through the book, we are actually brought all around Europe. So the story starts in a port town of Marseille, France, where our main character, Edmond Dantes, was confined to the grim fortress of If. So, so basically, Edmond Dantes was the perfect guy. He's a hard worker, he's handsome, he's young, he has a bright future in front of him, but as many heroes do they have enemies.
Yep, right. And the enemy himself is actually his friend, right, in this case?
Yes. Well, we can't say it's his friends because he's a very kind person. Even at the start, where we see how he interacts with his future enemies, he's this very kind man who sees the best in others. Even when um, his main opponent, Danglars, for example, is
Mhm.
very antagonistic towards him. He
Yep.
still invites him to his uh, engagement ceremony, in which, well, in the story is where things start to fall apart. They
I see.
conspire to arrest him,
Yep.
framing him as
Yeah.
a Bonapartist. So, in that time period, uh, Napoleon,
Mm-hmm.
the Emperor of France, was just defeated in Waterloo.
Waterloo. Yeah. Oh yeah. So this is where you said that although this is a fiction, it's quite related with the real historical moment. Yeah.
Yeah. The
Mm-hmm.
main background for this story is France
Mm-hmm.
during the period where Napoleon was taken down. So there
I
exists
see.
two actually political rivals in these scenes: the Bonapartists, those that support Napoleon, and
Mm-hmm.
the Royalists, those who support the Bourbon dynasty that hate that hates the Bonapartist faction since, well,
Oh yeah,
during the
Bonaparte wants
yeah.
to bring down the what do you call it, the bourgeois class, as I believe. Uh-huh.
That's actually the Les Miserables books. The Miserable
Oh
books
yeah,
is
yeah.
totally
Right.
about the French Revolution, where
Mm-hmm.
that's the reason why I haven't read that so much. That
I see. I see.
so coming back to the book,
Mm-hmm.
so he's framed as this fanatical, um, fanatical loyalist of Napoleon, and during that time period, it's a very great sin. Thus, he is isolated. And even when he got the chance to get out, the regime changed again,
Mm-hmm.
and instead, he's forgotten in the depths of the chateau, the prison.
Mm. The prison is up. Yeah.
And if you don't know the Chateau d'If, it is basically an island in the middle of the Mediterranean with a
It's
castle
like
on top of
the
it.
old day Alcatraz, something like that. Yeah.
Yep, it's basically
Uh,
an Alcatraz, but it's way farther than the town, from the towns.
I see.
So, um, so this is actually where the story begins.
Mm-hmm.
This Dantes is trapped within this prison. His sanity is being driven out of him. He can't escape.
Mm-hmm.
He doesn't have anyone to talk to. But suddenly, he comes across this um, Abe, Abe Faria. And Abe is basically um, a clergyman, if you know, a clergyman.
He's the mentor of
Yeah,
Edmond Dante. Yeah. Uh-huh.
he's a he's a he's not a pastor, but
Yeah.
he's a person in the church,
Yep.
because at that time the people at the church are actually the ones who give education, who has the most education.
I see. Uh-huh. And
So,
before we jump so far to that where he
mhm.
get to that chateau, actually he got to that chateau in the first place because of his own friend, right? Because he set him up, and because of the jealousy, because he was about to marry someone his
Okay,
friend actually like, right?
yeah.
Uh,
Actually, at this point,
mhm.
he doesn't know why he's being thrown there. He doesn't know
Yeah, yeah,
what
right.
happens with the outside world, because
Okay.
at at the moment of his arrest, he was
Mhm.
actually just going to be a captain of his own ship.
Yeah.
He's
Oh,
going
right.
to get married to the one that he
Mhm.
loves.
Yep.
And his father, his old dying father,
Mhm.
was saving up for this moment for his whole life, saving
I
up his money,
see.
saving up his health for
I
this
see.
moment.
Uh-huh.
And when he was arrested, it was at the peak of his happiness,
I
and
see.
until he escaped. Spoiler alert.
Mhm.
Um, he doesn't know anything, and that's
Oh, okay.
actually the hardest part of
I see.
being a prisoner,
I
actually.
think this is the point where the movie and the book differs. I mean, in the movie, he was like about to get a help from his friend, which is the one actually betraying him.
Huh.
Yep.
There's actually, oh, if we're talking about the movies, there's actually a lot of movies,
Uh-huh.
and
They altered it a
more.
lot, yeah.
There's most of the movies take a more romantic turn
I
because
see.
um, it is, after all, more popular in a 2-hour movie.
Yeah,
Well, the
right.
book is like 1,000 pages long.
I see. Yep.
Um, yeah, so he's about to marry the one he loves,
Mm-hmm.
and um, he was arrested, and he
Yep.
doesn't actually know anything until he escapes the
Okay.
prison.
Okay.
So yeah, I'll probably say who the people are actually doing this. But
Mm-hmm.
in the prison, he meets this mentor, this teacher,
Yeah, that clerk, yeah.
Abe Faria.
Abifaria, all right.
It is uh, he's called the crazy man of the prison because he tries to escape by letting the guards
Mm-hmm.
sharing about a treasure
Ah, yeah, yeah.
so great that the Italian princes have died over it, and
Okay.
through hardships and through hardships and time, um, Dantes finds his purpose again, finds
Mm-hmm.
his purpose to escape the prison
And find the treasure.
and not find the treasure, to
Mm-hmm.
get revenge on
Ah, okay.
his perpetrators. And Habib Faria, the noble guy he was always trying to help him steer from this dark path.
I see.
He teaches him chemistry, he teaches him physics,
Economy
and
and all.
when the moment that they were going to try their escape by tunneling under the soft,
Yeah, the two of them was like digging the tunnel slow by slow, right? Very slowly.
Abi Faria suddenly had a stroke,
Yep.
and Dantes was forced to make use of his death by slipping into his uh, his his sack. Well, they don't use caskets. They use like in Indonesian's funeral, yes, a cloth, and you wrap
Ah, yeah, yeah.
someone
For
in it.
a corpse. Yeah.
Yes, for a corpse.
Mm-hmm.
And
And that's where Dante will hide, right?
yeah,
Uh,
by
to be
sheer
able to
luck,
escape.
they
Mm-hmm.
actually didn't bury him alive. They threw him to
Ah,
the ocean.
yep,
And
yep.
since Dantes was a really fine sailor,
Mm-hmm. He
he
can swim
he,
right
he
there.
can swim. He
Mm-hmm.
managed to rip the sack apart and
Mm-hmm.
swam away. And
Yep.
and be- um and this is actually like 14 years before the main story starts. And during this time, we're actually uh, given clues on where he actually goes.
I
So
see.
he learns
Mm-hmm.
that his father
Mm-hmm.
had died from a starvation.
Ah, yeah. And you didn't know it before, yeah?
He didn't know it before, but when
Mm-hmm.
he returned to his home,
Yeah.
he's determined now to find uh, his neighbor, his best
Mm-hmm.
friend
Mm-hmm.
that takes care of his father's house.
I
So
see.
he finds him in a rundown business in the middle of France. So life has given him a bad turn. Uh,
Okay.
he doesn't have a lot of business coming in, and when Dantes dressed up like Abe, uh, that has a will for him,
Mm-hmm.
he tearfully confessed that his
Mm-hmm.
best friend and neighbor, with the cousin of his supposed to be wife,
Yeah.
and
Oh, okay.
also his his colleague in the trading business, a fellow captain,
Mm-hmm.
was the ones who
Married with her.
plotted, yeah, plotted to arrest him.
I see. Okay, so that's in the book where he found out about who actually behind all this
Yeah,
affair. Yeah. Uh-huh.
and um, to make things worse,
Mm-hmm.
he's supposed to be wife without the presence of himself,
Yep.
got married to his cousin, the guy
Mm.
who actually plotted to
Oh, it's
arrest
his cousin.
him.
Yeah. Oh, right.
Yes,
I thought it was his friends, but making things worse, it's his cousin. Yeah.
it's his cousin.
All right, it's quite mind blowing.
and and um and the judge who actually knew about his case,
Uh-huh.
that was his one chance of getting out of the prison,
Uh-huh.
had his own ambitions, because he sees Dantes as someone he could frame for his father's crimes, since his father
Oh,
was
okay.
a
A corrupt
uh,
something bureaucrat, something like that.
yeah, a
I
corrupt
remember. Uh-huh.
bureaucrat.
Yep, yep. Oh, yeah, I
And
remember that part.
Dantes,
Mm-hmm.
a noble soul he is, departs a single diamond to this best friend of his, that
Mm.
um, even after knowing he took part in something very bad, he still tried to take care of his father and buried him properly.
I see, I see.
The next time we see Dantes, we see him
Mm-hmm.
as the Count of Monte
Monte
Cristo.
Cristo, yeah. That's where he altered himself, yeah.
Hmm. So,
Uh, uh-huh.
with the knowledge given to him by Abe Faria, he
Mm-hmm.
found the treasure in the island of Monte Cristo. It's a real
Mm-hmm.
island off the coast of Italy.
Mm-hmm.
He actually found it very interesting. So after he escaped prison, he was
Mm-hmm.
saved by a not a pirate ship, a smuggler,
Ah, yeah, a smuggler, yeah, yeah. I think there are two of them, or was
Mhm.
it two of one?
And only because they
Mhm.
they had an idea that he was a criminal did they let him escape with them, even
I
after
see.
hearing the alarm from the prison.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
He proved himself an able sailor, and
Mm-hmm.
through hard work, he bought his own ship. He convinced a fellow smuggler to help him find the treasure, and
See. Eventually they did, yeah.
and eventually he became the Count of Monte Cristo. Since
Because of the treasure.
Mhm. And in Italy at that time, you can literally buy titles, a Count, Duke of anything.
Ah, I see.
Next time we sees him, um, um, we follow a pair called uh, Frank and Albert. So both of these people are son of nobles from France,
Mm-hmm.
trying going for a trip in Rome.
Right?
Rome at that time was the center of culture, the center
Yeah.
uh,
Center
of
of the universe.
world. Mhm. And during that time, during the carnival, they were robbed. They were robbed uh, by this person called Vampa.
Okay.
He's a real bandit. He's a real bandit in the real world. And
Mm-hmm.
as Frank tries desperately to save Albert, who was kidnapped
Mm-hmm.
during this time, he was helped by mysterious benefactor.
All right.
He introduces himself as the Count of Monte Cristo, and
Okay. Uh-huh.
And surprisingly, he was actually a good friend of this Vam Takis, the one who kidnapped Albert. And
All right.
Albert, having been saved by Frank and the Count,
Mhm.
invited him to his home in France.
All right. So he's got the connection right there from here.
He's got the connection right there.
Mm-hmm.
So time passed by, and as promised, the Count entered the house of Morcerf. So, if you don't know, Albert in the story is Albert de Morcerf, and his father, Ferdinand,
Mm-hmm.
is a Spaniard,
Okay.
and his mother is Mercedes.
Oh, okay. Which is
Which is
the
the
woman
one that
he was going.
to marry
Uh-huh.
Dantes.
I see.
So, of
So
course,
she was very thankful.
yeah. Of course, at this point, we already know, of course, our main protagonists have arrived. And the Count
Yep.
of Monte Cristo
Monte Cristo. Yeah.
got the connection by having this setup,
Mm-hmm. Saving.
saving the son just to get into that house. So
Yep.
we get a glimpse of the intelligence of the Count right here.
Yeah.
And
Right.
and at France at that time, at Paris especially, the culture is branching out. It's not all about the Frenchman anymore. It's about imperialism, colonialism,
Yep.
and the Western world is so entranced by the Oriental, by the stories of sultans, by the stories of hidden treasures, and this mysterious person, this enigmatic figure, comes along with riches uncountable, with his Greek slave, with his Turkish carpets and hashish, if you know. Mhm.
Did he just like come out with the story, or like he really experienced that Oriental stuff?
We don't know.
Oh, we don't know. He just like
don't
telling the
know.
story. Yeah. Okay.
So before we have followed the story in the eyes of Edmond Dantes, and now we're actually following the story through multiple people around.
I see. Around him, who didn't actually know him, yeah, yet.
Who don't actually know him. So there's this mysterious figure coming to town.
And everyone is talking about him, right?
He's talking about him. He's a guest of the Count of Morcerf. He sets up an unlimited amount of credit. A credit is a loan with the banker Danglars.
Okay.
And he sets up a shop. He buys a really nice house in Paris, another one in Normandy, and another one in the countryside.
And no one knows yet who this man is.
No one knows him.
Yeah,
but
from their point of view.
Of course, we know him. And of course, everything he does has a purpose.
Yep.
Why he set up a bank account with Danglars? Because he got the chance to meet Monsieur Villeneuve, which is the judge that
put him in prison.
That took advantage of him
in the past.
And Danglars, the rival captain that made the plot in the first place was
Mhm.
now a successful bankman, a successful
Uh,
member of the parliament too.
so now he's like Dantes was like trying to do all these separate event, but like it will be interconnected because all of them are conspired against Dantes, right?
Yes, since
Mm-hmm.
the plot 20 years earlier, these
Mm-hmm.
three people have actually stayed
Forgot about it.
close, yes, stayed in
Mm-hmm.
close contact to each other
I see.
and helped each other. But in the end, they still they have forgotten about this
Yeah.
those events.
Mm-hmm.
And as the count has planned out,
Mm-hmm.
he gets the chance to um, meet every one of them in Paris. He gets a chance to meet their families,
Mm-hmm.
and with
So
this
he will know all of
opportunity,
them. He
yes,
will know their strength and their weaknesses,
mhm,
right?
he'll be able to get those skeletons out of their closets.
Mm-hmm. So
Well, at this point,
where the revenge story began, yeah.
this is where the good part begins. So at this point, the reader most definitely is like, kill everyone, kill everyone. But
Yeah.
we don't know how he will do it, right?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
And um, as the story goes on, we see that he's actually got this all prepared.
Mm-hmm.
So first, he buys a house in the countryside of France. He buys another house in Normandy, northern France.
Mm-hmm.
He
The
invites
ghost.
he invites a noble
Mm-hmm.
uh, from Italy to be his his protege or his student.
Mm-hmm.
And actually, all of these random things that you can associate a rich guy in, of course,
Mm-hmm.
buying houses, uh, spending money, is actually all interconnected. So actually, this fake noble from Italy is actually, as I've slipped, a fake. He's actually an illegitimate child, a bastard
Mm-hmm.
of the wife of one of his rivals,
Mm-hmm.
this judge. And uh, the house that he bought in the countryside was the place where uh, the judge buried uh, his illegitimate child. But unbeknownst to him, the count saved him, and now he has a tool to get revenge on him
I
without actually
see.
needing to do anything.
Because he got the one who will do
Hmm.
the things in the field, yeah.
Um, and then the wife of the bankman, the business man Danglars, is
Mm-hmm.
actually um, a gambler. He likes to gamble in the stock market.
So that's where his weakness is.
He, the count,
Mm-hmm.
uh, bribes a few telegram officers. At that
Mm-hmm.
time, telegram was the
Telegram was the
weakest
main
point. But the main
communication.
weakness of telegram is that
Mm-hmm.
it's a series of stops. There's a series of stops where the communication needs to pass through.
Yep.
So he intercepts one of them,
Yep.
provides a
They can change the
fake
information by
message
doing that. Yep.
by saying that there's a civil war in Spain.
Ah,
Logically, the main course of action is to sell everything they
he
have in
has
the Spanish
in
government.
France. Yep.
And she does that, the wife of the bankman.
Mm-hmm.
And not only does she wasted the money of herself, but also her husband. And
Okay.
because it is the revolution, this fake civil war happened in Spain,
Mm-hmm.
against the French government who was occupying it. The Count de Morcerf, the Spaniard, the husband of his supposed to be wife, was
Mm-hmm.
also affected by it. He was
Oh,
forced to go to war. So
I
now
see.
he has one of his rivals uh, out out of the way.
Out of
He has one of his rival out of money,
Mm-hmm.
and he has one of his rivals anxious because he
He lost
he's
his
wondering.
friends. Uh-huh.
Yeah, he's anxious. His friends are gone.
Mm-hmm.
Somehow, this mysterious guy
Mm-hmm.
has his uh, bastard son,
Mm-hmm.
and he confronts him.
Mm.
He confronts him. Um, Finally, with questions like, "What do you know? What do you know of these events? What do you know of these events?" And the count, the relaxed guy he is, drugs him.
Okay.
As simple as that, he drugs him.
How? Like through his food or his drink or how? Do you
So,
remember?
from his travels,
Uh-huh.
we got a glimpse that he got himself some stash of hashish. Hashish is
Okay.
basically
Kind of smoking.
yeah, marijuana you can
Mm-hmm.
found in the Middle East,
Mm-hmm.
and he drugs him for a night. In the morning, he doesn't remember anything. But during that night,
Mm-hmm.
um, he went to his the judge's home, and pretending to be a doctor,
Okay.
tries to help his family, the family of the judge,
And what he actually do is,
and no, he actually doesn't do anything because
uh,
the wife of the judge, the one who has the illegitimate child,
mm-hmm.
is actually he has actual plans to uh, kill the first child. Why? Because the first child is actually from another woman, and he
Mm.
wants his natural born child. So we have a potential uh, killer,
Mm-hmm.
and role playing as a doctor. He says himself as a master of poisons,
All right.
and we have a potential killer here. We have a master of poisons. Well, we know where
Yep.
this is coming from, right?
Mm-hmm.
So um, he helps the judge uh, recover. Thankfully, he's more focused on himself, on his health, to bother the count on anything. Uh, and by this point, the Spaniard, the Count of Morcerf, comes back. He comes
Mm.
back, and the first thing he's confronted
Mm-hmm.
is a trial, a military trial from his friends at the French military. So
Mm-hmm.
uh, the Greek slave that the count brings at when he comes was
Mm-hmm.
actually the daughter of uh, of a king in
Okay. In Greece.
Greek.
Okay.
Mhm, mhm. So like 10 years earlier, the Spaniard, his rival, got his money from helping a king in Greek,
I see.
defending his territories from the Ottoman Empire. And that's how the French military knows him as the savior of the king that died and passed his treasures to his loyal friend from France.
Okay.
But this Greek woman comes up and
Mm-hmm.
says, "He's not our friend. He's actually the guy that betrayed the king in Greek to the Turkish Sultan." The
Mm.
French military, with a deep hatred of the Turks, because they've gone to wars with them,
Yeah.
Found out
Always have a
about this,
conflict. Mm-hmm.
found out about this, and stripped the Count of Morkerf from all his titles.
I see.
His sentence, not to jail, but the shame is so great he killed himself.
Did he actually successfully kill himself?
He did kill himself.
Oh, okay.
Shot.
I thought he was like the count was like thinking death is too easy for him, and he just like couldn't even kill himself.
No. The Count is a very meticulous person. He doesn't want to get his hands dirty, right?
I see. All right. Mm-hmm.
But even if he has planned all of this, things don't happen as they should. For
Mm-hmm.
example, his supposed to be wife, Mercedes, um, realizes that the Count is his long lost lover and begs him to spare Albert, to spare her son
I see.
from the Count's plans.
Is he not actually his son? That Albert.
In the story,
Uh-huh.
Albert is not the Count's son. He's the son of Mercedes and the Count of Morkerf. So probably in the
Right.
movie,
Okay.
or
Yeah.
romanticized.
I see.
Because Dantes at this point, the Count is a cold person.
I see.
He forgoes
He is very
all
thirsty
his
for this
emotion.
revenge.
He only has a single mindset of vengeance.
I see. All right.
And with the death of the Count of Morkerf,
Mm-hmm.
the bankman, Danglars, doesn't have support in the French government. He lost his money. He doesn't have anyone to help him. He flees. He flees from the country and successfully escaped Dantes. So this is one of the main plot holes. Not the plot holes. The thing that goes wrong. But the judge, unfortunately, was finding his house to be a difficult situation because his family starts dying. His mother-in-law, his father-in-law, his father are dying from a poison that he knows and does not want to admit is from his wife. His wife that doesn't want his daughter to get the inheritance.
Oh, that's why she poisoned everybody in there.
Yes, and the Count of Monte Cristo, as a fellow friend, provides the antidote.
Okay.
To the
So he's got
poison,
the credit from there.
But it still leaves them in a difficult situation. He is a judge. He knows his wife has killed a lot of people, but he doesn't want to admit it.
Yep. Because he will be sentenced, like criminalized, right?
Because he will sentence to jail because he's not reporting the death. He's not doing anything for it. And in the end, lets himself be poisoned with one condition. Her wife dies with him.
Oh, right.
And now
so
the judge and his family are dead.
By the poison or how? And any other way?
He lets himself get poisoned, but he shot his wife.
Oh, right. Wow.
The Count, realizing the gravity of his situation, he made someone kill an entire family, not only his rival, but the children and even a baby.
Without even doing it himself, yeah?
Without doing anything himself. Decides to save the sole daughter.
Why?
He saves the daughter because he feels pity for them. Because he feels that he should have been better. He should have planned this better because he doesn't want someone going through all the stuff he did too.
I see.
Growing up alone, growing up in hardship. And
what about this Danglar? Did he let him go till the end of the story?
So at the end of the story,
Mhm.
we see the Count a more forgiving man.
Oh, okay.
He was woken up from his thirst of vengeance by Mercedes,
I see.
by the one that he, even if he doesn't know him, still cares about. Even if he doesn't love him anymore, if he doesn't love her anymore, he still cares for him. Uh, and um, with the purpose of penance, by trying to redeem himself again, he gives Danglars one more
Mhm.
chance to be an honest man. He contacts his bandit, his Bampa
Mhm.
in France, in
To find
in Rome,
Danglar.
and kidnaps Danglars' family
Okay.
with the choice of uh, he releasing his family if he gives
Show
them
himself.
ransom
Okay.
money in the form
Mhm.
of actually everything he has in
By
terms
the
of
way,
money.
where did he escape to?
He escaped to he moved around, but at
Oh, okay. He's still in
in the
France.
in the point of
Mhm.
his capture, he was in Rome. He was in Rome. His family is captured, and he's threatened to pay to be released.
I see. And then
And
what happened? Danglar did pay the ransom for the family.
Danglars did not. He did not. He did not pay, and instead was captured himself. So actually, it was just a chance. It was the Count giving Danglars a chance to
Uh-huh.
be a family man, to
Mm-hmm.
have a good family, but he didn't choose.
I did not. Yeah.
And instead, he took all his money, released his family because he didn't have any plans for them anyway. He's not a cruel guy.
I see.
And Danglars, as now a poor guy in the middle of nowhere without anything to live.
Yep. So is he not desperate because of the
Yep,
situation? He is,
he's just
right?
a nobody right now.
And then.
At the end of story,
Mm-hmm.
we see Mercedes and Albert trying to live again, trying to rebuild their lives. We see the Count of Monte Cristo retiring to raise the daughter of the man, the family he killed.
Killed.
He's more a forgiving man, uh, and he's now just living back in his mansion, raising up a kid that he
Mhm.
never had the chance to do before.
Okay. What about Mercedes and his son, her son? Did he also raise her?
Mercedes and Albert,
Mm-hmm.
no, they
No.
split ways. The loss was too great for them to ever get back together.
I see. I see.
They lived separated, long place, trying
Mm-hmm.
to continue.
All right. All right. So that's where the story ends. Yeah.
Yep, that's where the story
All
ends.
right. Well, I really appreciate that you really remember all the names, all the characters, all the plot. Really, I didn't even remember from the movie. It's like,
Mhm.
well, that's why we need to read because it will embedded to our brain more deeper. Yeah.
Yeah,
Uh,
it's a very impactful story for me because
yeah.
I
Yeah. Sure.
get his feelings, get his emotions. I even cried at the end.
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay. I heard that you also will have some German course after this.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Thank you very much for joining me.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yep. I hope we'll have more time because you. Panuri said you also have other book that is quite interesting to discuss.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you very much for your presence today.
Thank you.
I'll see you next time, Abga.
See you.